Hello and welcome to the show. We are today going to be talking about Survive the Hunt 19, the one with all of the snow. Now we did a slightly different start for this one, just for a bit of fun, rather than starting at the docks and driving up as we would normally. This time it was jump out of a plane. Does it change much? Not really. Not in the grand scheme of things, other than I'll end up in a different sort of starting place. The hunters have to, because they were also jumping out of the plane, they had to deal with sort of different starts. It's a little bit more chaotic-er a beginning, pretty much, which is often, it's good for me. I can't have a, I say, almost set routine from here because, well, I don't know where I was going to be landing. As it happens, I landed in not a terrible place. I landed in a place where I could go and get a relatively nice car early on. A little bit glitchy getting it, but, you know, this is a pretty good vehicle to be starting with. Now, if you haven't watched one of these before, you can see we have got a mini-map. This is going to show where the players are. Now, the flashing dot, that is me. There is also marked around the place, the little kind of black pins, that is where the various trees are that I have to try and explode. So, and the map has to be a decent size so you can actually see what the hell is going on with it. For this, I've tried, I say, a slightly different tactic. My character perhaps a little too noticeable, so the haircut and with the mask, no one would know what it looked like until after we had jumped out. Kind of did the trick. It wasn't the character that gave me away here, you know. And at the end of that, that's one of the things, one of the many things that can give you away. But yeah, the character's one of them. I'd also managed to get a car. Didn't require breaking the window. As far as starts go, things were looking fairly good, and things went fairly well for a while. Well, say for a while. The first pre-explosion, not too bad either. So by now, all the hunters had jumped out and were, as you can see, spread out around the city. I'd spotted where this pre was, and after giving Lester a quick call to do all the bits and pieces that we needed to do, we could throw a sticky bomb at the car, and there was no one really around at this point. I had time to make sure the bomb was on the car properly, and set off as nobody was around in that particular area. So when I get to the junction, we can blow the car up in relative safety. Now, this is where things were a little bit wrong for me. Alright, so we set off minding our own business. Of course, the AIs are freaked out from that explosion, and the Sabre, for whatever reason, wanted to follow me into a different lane and clonked into the back of my car. Now, at this point, all of the hunters have been alerted that there has been an explosion and are now rushing towards the cinema, if you will. It's not great for me because I've now got a damaged car. Damaged car is general grounds for being searched. I couldn't really have done much to avoid that damage as such. I wasn't to know the AI was going to end up freak out and crash into the back of my car. Now, thankfully, there's a lot of traffic around that does mean that a quick glance the blimp might not notice, or any of the vehicles might not notice, because, as I said, there were quite a lot of cars in this particular area, or certainly they were in this particular area, or they were, you know, now heading to that particular area. I wanted to try and get away. I wanted to swap cars, but swapping cars is dangerous because, well, you know, there's a hunter. It takes a little while to change your vehicle, and yeah, it's not the easiest of things to get away with, shall we say. And there's another hunter went past. I went for a very, very high risk strategy here. As the minivan, once the minivan had gone past, I just went for it in the vague hope that I would be okay, and it was mighty close. I mean, you can see where the dots are as we go for a bail, quickly swap cars, get rid of the AI. There are vehicles literally heading towards me. I shot the guy down, close the doors, and everything is fine. Now, for this discussion, we actually have the hunter chat recorded, if you will, and as I slowly make my way back to pretending to be an AI car, there was some shenanigans at the junction I just left.
What did you say about my friend?
Yeah, something going at the junction. Oh, that red convertible's been abandoned.
That isn't a good
I
turn.
tell you what, the minivan kind of flies, you know, when you get on the
TV
gone black and white.
Why would they aim at you?
Right.
Tell you what, the Patriots is rubbish.
Oh god, what is happening at this junction? Really wanted to lock on
the red Jag convertible.
What if I just land in the middle of it?
However, I can't see a blimp.
So, I'd got away. I'd been quite lucky. The chaos at the junction actually kind of helped me. They were busy messing around at that particular section. They did find the car that I had been using abandoned there. I knew I didn't have much time to try and get away, but we got out cleanly. I then moved on to the next drove myself around. Now there was one, there's one that was at an apartment that I wanted to try and blow up, but there were too many cars around me. Last time we tried it, I got me in trouble, so this time I was playing a little bit safe. This one, again, we thought I was relatively clear. It's always hard to know when you're getting away. It's not the greatest piece of driving, getting myself out of the parking space, but yeah, we were kind of relatively clear over this side of the map. The blimp was around, but again, wasn't in line of sight of what was going on. One thing to note that people did say about the snow building up on the vehicles, it is, I say it is hard. We don't know whether other players would have seen the snow build up. We know that damage doesn't always sync between cars, and the snow build up quite probably didn't. While yes, it shows up on my end as having my car covered in snow, and AI vehicles often not. If the player car isn't around me, it's quite possible that it didn't show up on their screen either. You know, the desyncing thing is something that happens. Either way, once more, I'd blown up a pre, and we got out relatively cleanly on this one. Again, vehicles were now rushing over to that location. They were a little bit too late to the party as we slowly managed to drive away. I did get very lucky though.
I think he's in I did say it 3 times.
Yeah, I heard Chris.
Yes, but we don't listen to you.
About Chris, I think he's in maybe this Hummer. Is he in this Hummer?
Let's see.
I don't know how to describe. He's going past Scotty's apartment right
Why
now.
did you think that was a good idea, Sabre?
Past Scotty's apartment, heading which
Whoever's
way?
in that Sabre.
He's heading towards the golf course.
Traffic.
Oh,
Traffic.
no,
You
I
think
don't
so?
know. He's.
Moron.
This can't
No,
be
he's
AI.
going far too slow, Ewan. It's not
Yes,
him.
He
has
ran.
just spun you out right
This
now.
AI ran every single red light. That was weird. Well,
Oh no, I found Scott.
I'll find out.
No.
Yeah, that's
Oh, there's a blimp dropping to the floor.
Yeah.
Right in front of it.
Timmy's about to.
I just flicked its headlights on and off.
what, that Hummer?
No, this one.
Oh.
It's me, you plonk.
Oh, it's you.
Yeah, I'm going to sit there flashing my lights at the blimp. That one, trust it.
Alright.
Where is the blimp?
Oh,
I actually
killed
can't
it by-
see it, and I think I'm right next to it.
Was it
and I
like-
can't
Jesus, what is
see it.
this?
Mate, yeah.
Oh,
Brace,
hang
you
on.
were in the wrong. You were in the wrong.
don't
How
go
many
back
cars
time.
here are hunters?
All of them, I think.
Are we following the
Chris,
blimp?
was yours in this top left corner?
Was,
gonna
no,
appear
mine was on like the little side road beside the motorway.
Oh, the hill.
Yeah, he's on the slip
Yeah.
road. That's why I thought.
Like
he
where
was,
I am.
because
I think
He
it's
ran
the-
from that slip road.
Well,
I-
he could
right
have
here.
just shot down the motorway.
Jesus.
You could,
Yeah, he could be on the motorway.
Wait, hang on.
Well, he could shoot.
Oh, explosion.
That just exploded for no reason.
Where?
It did.
Nothing explodes for no reason.
Record that.
Nothing explodes
I
for
wanna
no
record
reason. You're right.
I just
okay.
got run over.
Yeah, I mean...
that.
So, a combination of confusion around an AI vehicle obviously doing something weird and something exploding. I think back at the car park bit where I'd blown up the pre, I guess maybe one of the other cars was on fire and then eventually exploded, drew everybody away from me. Which, yeah, is quite lucky. I don't know what the AI Hummer it was that they were chasing after was doing. It happened to be that I was heading in the same way that was. There was a huge number of cars. I mean, just about everybody was at that junction, and I drove through it, no problems, because they were busy looking at something else and then busy driving away. That is the way it goes sometimes. Often, I say often, but yeah, sometimes the hunters will get distracted chasing after an AI vehicle doing something weird. Next time, again, this is another similar, quite lucky moment, if you will. So I'd seen, and we see the minivan go and take the corner. Now I knew that we were sat in this traffic for a little while. There's a couple of them actually went past there. We're going to be sat in this traffic for a little while. Call Leicester, could potentially blow up the pre, and I say get away. The first sticky bomb was not the best idea ever, not the best throw I've ever had. It might have got it for the splash damage, but I was going to play it safe anyway. So yeah, as we go into the tunnel, while there had been cars around, there was nothing exactly looking in the right direction, which means when I blew up the vehicle, when we blew up the Pre, I just followed the AI ahead. That wasn't freaking out. I could just continue to drive normally. And while I believe it was a player car, no, I thought for a second I thought the G-Wagon was the player car. No, there was player cars going on behind me. I didn't know the camera looking in the right direction. They went racing off towards the tunnel, and again, we would get out. All of these explosions were all. I was just able to get far enough away. Now my dot actually does disappear off the map briefly. I don't quite know why, but they swarm around the shopping centre area. However, I'm already that little bit further away. We're just far enough away that it's difficult for them to do all that much when a hunter car comes flying past. Now there is a bunch more vehicles behind me. I didn't realise. I didn't realise at this point while there was a hunter car prattling around at the junction in front of me. I didn't realise how many vehicles there were behind me. I don't know what what was going on. I never looked back. And there's three cars around me, 4 cars possibly at that section, and I just drove off. And again, none of them had been close enough to do anything about the Serrano, and we continued for what is quite possibly my favourite moment of this particular one, as they are all looking for my car.
Hang on, Chris, this is you.
What? I'm in the shaft behind you. Yeah.
How do you know it's in Pega?
Because he's in a fire truck. What?
Very impaired.
Is there
What is it?
anything else of those spawning? I can't remember what it's called.
That helps.
I can't. It's
one
just
over
a
here.
generic. Oh, is it? Oh, never mind then. I hadn't seen one for ages.
Ah! Yeah, there's hundreds of them in Pega.
Down that entire road, we were alongside. I didn't see one. I thought they'd stop spawning. Oh well. I've just seen this place called the Pink Sandwich.
Giggle.
Is there any grizzly spawning?
They can make a joke out of that.
I did just see one. Too.
Yeah, I did see some. Yeah.
I'm seeing a few.
Damn, we've always been just a bit too late to these race
Well, I was
explosions.
having it.
I know.
Yeah, they've
Well,
not been good
yeah,
this time.
it's always like that when we
That's
don't know
that's
which one
like,
you're
that's
blowing
like
open
the point of it, though, isn't it? Like, Peg, are you okay?
I was on my phone.
He's dying inside.
we just need someone to
Aren't we
buy it free.
I was waiting for you to say that, to be honest.
I'm gonna go and check on my pre.
So I might have got very lucky with the hunters not quite paying attention, and my best AI blending in went unnoticed because the fire truck wasn't actually really seeing what was going on. Unfortunately, what I say since realised, what I've realised afterwards, the Serrano having been already looked at a little bit curiously, I should have swapped it. Because at the end of the day, the Grey Serrano, while they were still spawning, they had already looked at one and they see another one and they're going to investigate. And that is what got me in trouble.
Black and furnace.
What's
what are you
happening here?
doing?
Whoa, there's some crashing
Not
behind me.
much.
What's going on?
Is the
Whoa.
answer.
There's still.
Oh, I found
It
him.
takes me
It's
all
either
year.
Pega,
Black and
Pega,
furnace
Pega.
or
Is that
black and furnace.
It looks
near-
familiar.
Where?
Where?
Yeah, it's run a red light. That's got red.
Yeah,
That's
it
must
has.
be. There's a
The
black
ammunition is similar.
He's near
Lamb-
the
Wait, I'm
movie
black SUV
studios.
near
He's
ammunition
going
in the middle.
through movie studios.
Don't
right
don't
there.
block, don't
What?
block.
No, there's 2 of them. No,
What?
no, Ewan's got run from movie studios.
A black
What?
furnace running.
I
You said
might
you
be
seen
right,
it,
yeah.
and I said the movie studio. What the
That's
fuck?
not an AI. Surely not. It just drove through the movie studios.
I
Yeah,
did.
we'll
Yeah,
follow
to
this
do that.
one.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Alright, you follow that one. We'll
You follow that one, we follow that.
This is
This
funny.
one's not an AI.
We can't handle one chase. Not
Hold
two.
on.
Ewan, I'll follow you. Where are you?
Just by the movie studios again. No, it must be. Right, this has to be an AI on fucking crack or some shit. What have you got?
Where?
Just shoot him. Just shoot
That's-
the AI.
I'm going.
Shoot him.
Hey,
Shoot him.
This is an AI.
Oh
This
yeah,
isn't
no,
Alex.
that's definitely him. That's not an AI move. Yeah,
No,
definitely.
this is an AI.
Yeah, he's on the
Yeah, no,
motorway.
that's definitely.
Black
yeah,
SUV.
Motorway.
Black
You've
SUV
got
on
the
the
right
motorway.
one. Okay.
Where?
What?
Which way is he heading on the motorway?
By the red
By
car
red
park.
car park.
By the red car park, yeah. No,
I'm
it's
just-
fun.
I'm not, I'm not far from
Heading,
there.
heading south or north?
Currently upside down.
You're expecting
fuck.
everyone in this party to know they're north from south.
Did Alex
He's
play a
heading
decoy?
toward. He's heading west.
Fuck
Oh,
me,
limo,
I
yeah.
fucking turned around to
I'm
east.
actually
Oh,
baffled.
Steve, I just helped you go the right
Oh,
way.
that was.
Yeah. Oh no!
Is he
This
heading?
thing does not
No,
fucking turn,
what you've
does
done
it?
there is punt him clear.
Yes.
Who's in the exemplar? Get out the exemplar.
Ow.
No, he's not.
Sure.
Oh, for Christ's sakes, everybody, stop!
Get out the exemplar.
Yeah,
Doesn't
why
matter.
you
Oh, great, cheers. Thanks,
Can
guys.
one person
Thanks
say
for
an
that
update to where he is?
Ow.
He hasn't really gone very far. He's just been spinning.
Ow, he's run me over as well.
Still on the lane motorway.
Where
16
are
and
you
a half
getting
minutes
over?
remaining.
We're
Come
we're
on.
going back towards the red car park again. To be honest with you.
For God's sake.
This is the worst
Don't
case
worry.
scenario.
From which direction?
West.
Yeah. Build the cargo.
Steal the cargo. Leave me alone.
I don't want to steal the cargo.
No, please.
Uh,
Where it is?
I might go do that.
Something just a bit off the gap.
He jumps off.
Yeah, I
Jumps
think
off.
it was
Jumps
him.
off.
He likes to use that gap, doesn't he? Oh, for God's sake.
I
Beg
just
him.
saw him as
That
well.
one.
I thought it was one of you guys.
Which direction?
He's at the
Who's
Chinese
chasing him?
monument, that sort of area.
That's where I'm.
Now, I had done quite well to have survived this long. In all honesty, a little bit of luck. I had had gone on. A confusion at the start of the chase with AIs doing shenanigans had bought me a little bit of time. The Serrano wasn't the best, however, with a small bit of luck, I had made enough of a gap. We got into the canals area that was difficult for them to follow, and that's what I needed, essentially. The blimp was never quite there for this, for this particular one. It was there, you could see it, but it hadn't really got the sight of me at this stage. Now, this is where I goofed it. I'm annoyed with myself at this one. There's a number of things I should have done. First of all, I should never have tried to nick this car. Well, I would have been better off just crouching down in front of it. And we get the car going, and I wanted to try and get out of here because if they saw the beaten up car parked, they would have probably known. Me being British didn't help. Me driving on the wrong side of the road, it just momentary slip of the mind while I was frantically trying to get the Leicester to get rid of the wanted level because this was a Simeon car, which I didn't know at the time, put me on the left-hand side of the road. I'll be honest, while, yes, that was dumb, I think they would have seen me anyway. I reversed out of that parking space in a way that an AI car never would, and there was a hunter to have watched me reverse out of it. They probably would have seen it. Either way, it certainly didn't help that I was driving on the wrong side of the road. However, I think we were pretty much busted. I said I probably should have stayed stationary a little longer. I should have hidden in that garage perhaps and made it difficult for them. But that's that really. Once I had gotten another chase, I knew this one was going to be tough. You know, this vehicle is not the fastest thing, or I didn't think this thing was the fastest in the world, and the hunters were doing a fairly good job at keeping track. It did well, I will give it that, and it certainly gave them some problems along the way.
We still see him. Yeah, I still see him in the
Yeah,
Is he
so
heading
that's
towards the
where-
casino? Is that him heading
Yeah,
down the main
yeah,
road?
Yeah,
it's gone.
He just turned right.
Did he?
Yeah, he's turned right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Two cars behind
Oh,
him.
I found him
Someone
right here. I've
fell.
got him.
I thought I helped you.
He's
No,
heading
I
past
lied.
down. He's turning left, left,
Oh,
left
Ewan.
past the back entrance to the shopping
Right.
centre. No pun intended.
Turn right.
Turning
Shopping
right.
centre.
Right over the right. He's going past the front of the shopping centre where the
Lamppost.
Prius used to be.
He's
Yeah,
going
He's
over
heading
the
down
top of the
towards the
motorway.
T junction, where right is going
Over
to take
the
him to the
motorway.
red car park.
Oh, who's
taking
in that
each
fucking
other
black
out.
felon?
Well,
Right, he's
Left,
gone
left,
left.
left.
He's
Yeah.
under.
Well, you've got to give him some chance.
Oh my
Sorry.
He's
Has he gone under
right,
or over?
right. No, he's gone. He's turned right. He's heading down towards Simeon's. Turn left
Okay,
again
I
past
see
the build that's still in
Stop
construction after
tunnelling.
6 years,
I agree.
and then right. He's going past
Oh, yeah,
the
he's still
ammunition
there.
and under
Yeah,
the
he's
bridge.
going
He's
towards
going onto the
Benny's.
bridge now.
I'm struggling with the blimp to find him. Oh, there he
No,
is.
Ben.
Hey, Ben.
People have crashed into
He's
each
Right, he's
other.
heading through an
Back
alleyway towards
alleys.
Franklin's house.
Yep.
Franklin's old house.
Left,
That's not what-
left, after the alleyway.
You've rolled. That
have
is
fell
helpful.
over.
He's gone past Franklin's old house.
Right. He's inside
Yeah,
the
he's in the
yard,
shopping
inside the
centre.
yard. Out
What
the
a crowd.
side. Left. He's
Yeah,
on the main
Left,
road.
right, left, right.
No,
Right.
you accelerating dickhead.
Right, he's heading.
Right,
He's turned right. He's
No,
turned
look,
right.
I was
What's
He's
going
right?
going
off
along
the
the train
junction.
track.
Now, at this point, I'd actually made almost enough of a gap, and then I threw everything away. There was a combination of couldn't decide where to go, and when I had decided I didn't have time or grip. I didn't have as much grip as I thought, and yeah, a little bit of indecision got me in trouble. This is where the car actually really came into its own. I shouldn't have survived for as long as I did. Helped by being the all-wheel drive SUV, and there was a lot of rear-wheel drive kind of saloon cars about the place. It was just whatever way I had momentum to go, I was going. If that was forward, it was forward. If it was going to be a backwards, if I turn, I didn't even care what way I was going. Just moving was better than not. There were a couple of dinks went into the back of me. I don't know how much health I had, but there was certainly a couple of shots. However, they were shot at me, not the car. Well, they were not shot at the tyres. The tyres would have been a death sentence in this weather. And again, this was just a case of if it was forward, I was just going to drive. I forgot that was I thought that was a destructible gate. It wasn't. We got very lucky there. The ping over the fence actually saved me once more as we get going. There was another couple of shots plinked the back of the car, but nothing particularly damaging. I mean, at this stage, I knew I was in a bit of trouble. I was hoping that we could get cars stuck around the like any sort of sticky outy bit of walls could get a car stuck. Something might work. Ultimately, though, I just couldn't. While they had a really tough time, I've got to give credit to this car. It really, really did not get stopped. They really struggled to deal with it. It kept finding a way to to wheel free. It had a good amount of speed, surprisingly so. It didn't quite have the top speed. This was the issue I had. It didn't quite have the top speed of, I think it's the felons that were giving me grief. But it wasn't that far away at times, which meant they had a really tough time trying to keep up with it. Unfortunately, in my attempts to get away, I just really asked a little bit too much of the car. Yeah, down the straights I could... I mean, I wasn't going to beat them, but I could give them a little bit of trouble. I was hoping... My hope would really get the other cars, get them stuck, and I hoped they'd make a mistake on the snow with their rear-wheel drive cars, and that I could get away, but I just asked too much. I didn't quite have the grip to make it work. They got themselves in a good position, gave it a nudge, and once it was stuck, there was no getting out of this particular one. I very nearly got myself free at this stage. We managed to shot my way out of 3 of them. However, a 4th car had turned up. It was too many. In the end, it could kind of keep a chase. It could keep alive in a chase for a while, but it was only for so long. It could keep the chase going, but actually losing the cars proved a little bit too much. Still, it was an impressive performance. It survived a lot longer than it probably should have done. There's a couple of things that annoy me that I could have perhaps done better. That is the way it goes. That is the way it goes sometimes. Certainly, if they've investigated a car and moved on and ignored it as an AI, probably a good idea to change it. Definitely. As dangerous as it is to change cars, it's also obviously dangerous to stay with it. That's what got me. Did I run a red light? Sure. Had the AIs been running a red light up until that point? Yes, also. So that didn't help my cause, but I think it was going to get searched. It was going to get looked at regardless. So... yeah, swap cars if it's been investigated, but not unnecessarily, perhaps. And that's always the fine line. And yeah, don't drive. Don't be British. don't be British on the American roads. That's always dangerous. But it was reversing out of that space, I think, was always going to get me in trouble. Either way, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you all very much for watching. A massive thank you to Scotty for filming the map and for Amy for recording the Hunters voice audio, so we have a little bit different for this one. Till next time, though, goodbye.